Welcome back to the Star Trek Critic. Today we are grading the last animated episode of the 1970s, the Counterclock Incident. The Enterprise is taking Commodore Robert April, first captain of the Enterprise, to his retirement ceremony on Babel, but fall into an alternate universe where everything runs backwards. The first point is lost for the reflections on the animation plate. There is Robert April, who would have been in the original pilot until his name was changed to Captain Pike. For not being accepted as canon, the animated series likes to do their research, and he stayed in until he was 75. Not too bad. Of course, the animators like to cut corners. Have you noticed how his face moves just like Captain Kirk's? Look close, the turbolift doors are open, so -1 point. In this universe, the Enterprise was constructed in San Francisco. In the Kelvin universe, it was built in Iowa. This is Mrs. April, but her name isn't May or June. It's Sarah. Aww. This plant is a native of Capella 4. We'll see it a lot later in the show. And shout out to the animated last episode paying homage to the last original episode, All Our Yesterdays, where the Beta Niobe star went supernova. And there it is today. Well, or in 1974, actually. Oh look, Captain April actually watched the original series, didn't he? And -1 point for Warp 36. If that other ship was going that fast, they would never see it. Where did Dr. McCoy and Mrs. April go? And -1 point for trying to put a tractor beam on a ship going 46,000 times the speed of light. Oh good, they slowed down to 32,000 times the speed of light. That tractor beam would have ripped the Enterprise apart. Lieutenant Uhura has it figured out. She's saying their tractor beam is causing her trouble. Obviously, she didn't find the secret by riding Star Tours.
What are you doing here? This is a combat zone. It's restricted. Ease off on your main thruster.
This is the first time in Star Trek history where the Commodore hasn't tried to take over the ship and get everybody killed. And -1 point here. If the ship got dragged at that speed, it would break apart. This is impossible, of course. So McCoy, Mrs. April, and Uhura are missing, and now Mrs. April is back, so -1 point. And no, Spock, the Enterprise can't go that fast. You would have flown through the Nova in 3 seconds if you're really going at warp 20. The Aprils are ready to go down with the ship. Spock's calculations are all wrong. I would take a point, but this is a kid show. Sulu gives the first 2 eyes.
1 eye is sufficient acknowledgement and
Scotty gives the 3rd eye. And now Commodore April is missing, but Uhura is back. Kirk fiddles with Sulu's switches. And there they go into the Nova that they just escaped from last year. The Aprils tell each other the last deep dark secrets, and she's got really nice fingernails, doesn't she? They're now in an alternate universe where everything is in reverse, including the ship is going backwards. Look closely. Is that Scotty? I will say it's another engineer with the same rank because he's down here in engineering. Her flower has come back to life. Mrs. April is the first to discover what's going on. Now that they are in the reverse universe, shouldn't she be hearing them backwards? And it looks like Amphion is their name for Beta Niobe. She says the 2 Novas in the same place caused the gateway. Both Aprils and Dr. McCoy are back. They really move around in this show, don't they? Carla 5's planet Eret is Terra spelled backwards, which was a planet on Battlestar Galactica. And why is her name Carla 5? Is she on Logan's Run too? The next point is lost is for having the Aprils in the conference room. They are guests on this ship, not a part of the crew. Spock's solution is a nightmare, isn't it? The next point is lost for the captain and first officer beaming down together. Scotty gives us the 4th eye. Incredible, they actually landed on the surface in the same positions they started with. I think that's a first on this show. First show to copy this idea was Mork and Mindy. And her father in diapers is kind of similar to our own universe, isn't it? Trek will visit a planet like this again in Voyager. Just how are people in this universe born? Look closely, in the lower left is Kirk's head. It's actually a giant table, not on a wall. Now we're going to see the Milky Way galaxy. There it is. They look exactly alike. Incredible. Earth and Eret are in the same place. Their theory is to bring a dead star to life and then go through it. How dangerous is that? Look closely, the captain's log is also going backwards. Just what kind of a ship does Carla 5 have if it has enough firepower to ignite a star? Carla says, good luck even though we'll never know what happened to you. Kirk's like, we might not know either, will we? -1 point for the de-aging process to take so long. They should have already started getting younger by now. And -1 point for the de-aging process not killing them like it did to this guy. Their bodies wouldn't take the stress. Commodore April's looking pretty good. They are de-aging much faster than the people of this universe. It must be dangerous for them. Captain April takes over the Enterprise for one last time in his career and saves the ship. And here's what the crew would have looked like in the original pilot if the names hadn't changed. A lot of this episode is just watching Spock count down. I know this is a kid's show, but I will have to take a point for these clothes shrinking to match the kids shrinking. Captain April saves the ship one last time. So how are they going to fix this problem? Captain April has the solution because he watched this next generation. Sarah wants to stay this age, but Robert says no, they lived a good life. They should really be thinking about retirement at this young age instead of going back to work again. And they kiss one last time on the Enterprise. It's highly unlikely the Federation would tell him he doesn't have to retire now that they're old again, so minus 1 point. But they would have given him one less medal, I'm sure. And Sarah April gives the last line of the animated series.
It gave all of us a second life.
Is she referring to the animated series giving Star Trek a second life? It makes you wonder, is the animated series the 4th Star Trek season, or just a non-canonical Saturday morning kids cartoon? Leave your comments below. The Counterclock Incident, the last animated episode, and the only appearance of Captain April gets a score of 88%. And so ends the animated Star Trek series, brought to you by Filmation in 1973 to 1974 AD, and my introduction to Star Trek on Saturday morning. And I'm still looking for those animated series film strips you used to shine onto the wall with your flashlight in the dark. I loved those as a kid. Coming up next are the 6 Star Trek movies, starting with The Return of V'ger, Sarek as a Klingon, and Spock laughing. But first, be sure to check out my other videos and playlists, and click that like button, the share button, and that subscribe button, and I will see you again soon.
Smartphone Alpha.